Welcome to another Mayor's Report. It's my great pleasure of having the 5th annual St. Patrick's Day Parade report. I have with me Mike Murphy and Rich Kelly. Why don't you guys give a little brief background about yourself before we're talking about this fantastic event in the Village of Mamaroneck. Mike?
Well, thanks for having us on here, Mr. Mayor, because you know that everyone loves a parade, and in this village, everyone loves the St. Patrick's Day Parade, or the St. Patrick's Parade. It's celebrating St. Patrick's Day, but it's not on St. Patrick's Day. But I'm Michael Murphy with Murphy Brothers Contracting. I may be responsible for new project development on my daily duties, but right now I'm responsible for public relations for the Mamaroneck, or for the Sound Shore Parade. And I'm actually Rich's assistant.
Actually, you bring up an important point before I cut you off, Rich, that it is not a Village of Mamaroneck parade. The Village of Mamaroneck is the host, but this truly is a Sound Shore event. So everyone in the Sound Shores is invited to this and take part. And everybody in that day, of course, is Irish, including Mayor Rosenblum. So, Rich?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Rich Kelly. I live in the Shore Acres section of the Village of Mamaroneck and have for 15 years. This is my 5th year. Well, this is the 5th year of the parade. It's my 3rd year being involved with the parade. Great group of folks doing something for really for the community, to celebrate Irish heritage, but really to throw, as Michael said, to throw a parade for everybody. And as Mr. Mayor said, it really is for the whole Sound Shore. And we have had folks come from Ryan, Portchester, down to New Rochelle and Scarsdale and points west. And we hope that that will be replicated again this year.
Well, it's very interesting. As you know, everyone knows about the St. Patrick's Day Parade in New York. So it's a classic parade. Even though they have many cities, I think that's one of the keys, at least the United States. And why, of course, it's based on Irish culture. I think it's very important that every culture is maintained in this great society. It's a fabric made up of all different cultures and so on. But the important part is that while you're maintaining the Irish culture, you are also celebrating, like we said before, the general fabric of the United States, where all cultures are here. And we all get together on this. Why you joke that everybody comes Irish, but there's a message to that everybody gets along. And the Village of Mamaroneck's diversity is so great that everybody comes to celebrate it. So, which is great.
I think that's really what it's all about. I mean, we look back at the stories that our forefathers told when they came over to this country, and they were treated poorly, just like a lot of other immigrants that came here. And we hear it today. Sometimes people talk about the immigrants that are treated poorly, but they worked together. They worked within the system. They got a leg up in some way. And the interesting thing about the St. Patrick's Day Parade is that it's always replicated or it represented to me that the idea that the Irish made something of themselves, whereas they got pride in being a citizen of the United States, that kind of thing. And so I like the idea that with the Sound Shore Parade is that it not only include the Irish, but includes everyone in the Sound Shore to be proud of being Americans of all things.
That's the key, American. So, I always believe not the Irish American or Jewish American or Italian American. It's American, Irish, American. Everyone gets together and it's great. It's a good thing.
Well, everyone is invited. March 20th, 1:30.
Right.
Please come out. The main crux of the parade goes right down Mamaroneck Avenue. And again, whether you're from Mamaroneck or Larchmont or Rye or Portchester or Scarsdale or New Rochelle or Connecticut or the Bronx for that matter, we'd love to see you. And
everybody's.
Mike in particular is going to be doing a lot of outreach to groups that maybe we haven't directly reached out and touched in the past. So we hope to have an even greater attendance on Mamaroneck Avenue, and of course pray for good weather.
Well, actually, this is the first time hearing about the Bronx. Are you sure you want the Bronx here? But
a lot of Irish in the Bronx.
That's true.
Especially off of Webster Avenue.
That's right, and it kicks off at 1:30, as Rich said. So, you want to be lined up on the parade route,
right.
And maybe there's a spot that you like to watch the parade. I know with the last few years, I've been in front of the Italian bakery. What is it? Arturo's.
Arturo's.
Right. They're doing
one of several in the village.
Yes,
the Westchester Bakery, Boiano's, Arturo's.
I was doing the broadcast for LMC-TV along with Pat Murtaugh, and you've been our guest every time you come through. And
it's great. I love it. It's fantastic. So. I'm 3rd generation. I remember it's similar to the Fireman's Parade. I mean, everybody comes. It's great. I don't think I've missed a Fireman's Parade. But why don't we get into the parade itself? And even the first part, there's a reason for the parade, aside from everybody having a great time, which is good, is that you have a fundraising event to help not only fund the parade, and get the people that march here, but also to give scholarships away, which is great. And it's for either Mamaroneck High School or Rosenblum High School. Is that correct?
It was
Or
actually,
anything.
just like the parade is a celebration of Irish culture, the parade functions to also reward those who embrace their Irish culture in the form of those scholarships. So we had a luncheon last June at Molly Spillane's where we awarded scholarships for the 2015-2016 academic year to 3 students who were going to be freshmen or freshmen or sophomores. Really nice kids who would have all were very, very accomplished academically, but also had done different things. One was a musician, 2 were dancers within Irish culture, and it was very rewarding to see the efforts that we do with the parade, raising funds, golf outings, sponsors of the parade, etc., to see those funds be put to good use in the form of giving these students a break on their tuition. And they and their families really appreciated it, and we'll be doing the same thing this year as well.
And 5 years going. The parade, I remember the first parade was what you call Luck of the Irish. I think it was 70 degrees, which is really unusual. You can't depend on that. But it was a beautiful setting to set. Once you have an event, it becomes annual every year.
You want to
It's great. And
prognosticate on
and
the
it
temperature
keeps
this year?
Yeah, I will. It depends if I can stay in town, though.
Being the mayor, can you give us good weather here? Right?
Absolutely. But I believe, if I remember correctly, the first parade was only like maybe 4 or 5 sections that you call it, divisions, right? And this year has grown so much. I mean, how many divisions do you have this year? About
8.
8, that's
There are 8,
amazing.
yes.
So it's almost doubled.
Yes. Well, actually, if I may, I have a quote I'd like to share.
Oh, absolutely.
And this was from the, if I may read from my prop
Go
here.
right ahead.
It's from Dennis Lenahan, who is the assistant bandmaster for the New York Police Department Pipes and Drums. He called to confirm that they're going to participate in the parade, and he said that they love coming to our parade, the Sound Shore Parade, because it was really well done and a classy event.
Very
Not
great.
bad, huh?
Right.
With all
Those
the parade,
guys are
this is the NYPD. Not
Those
bad.
guys are fantastic
Oh, yeah,
too
they're
when they
great.
come down.
Yes.
I mean, I think everybody looks. There's all kinds of groups in each division, but I think everyone expects to see the fife and drum, the dancers and so on. What are some of the groups that are going to be participating this year?
I'm glad you asked. I just happen to have a list right over here.
How surprising!
Confirmed. Confirmed. We have the Yorktown Pipes and Drums. Let me see. Well, it says here that Nancy Seligson and the Town of Mamaroneck Council is going to be here.
Correct.
Along with the mayor and the Village of Mamaroneck Board.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Be good if we could get the people from Portchester too, and
They're
all the way
from
down to
Town of Rye,
why not down to
absolutely.
Pelham there. Get
Town of
them, too.
Rye is part of the village.
We have Ann Hendry's School of Irish Dance. How about that? We have new entry this year, the Westchester Knicks. How
Oh,
about
that's
that?
great.
That's a tall order.
All right.
Right?
They will stand out.
Yes, they will. And also the McGuff Academy of Irish Dance. That's a good troupe. They're from Yonkers, a lot of Irish down there. So
Don't we have a group of local kids that dance too?
Yes, the O'Rourke Irish Dancers. My daughter is actually one of them. They will be represented as well. We have
nepotism there, isn't it?
That's great. This family.
we have the Eastchester Irish American Social Club. We have St. Christopher's Marching Band, the NYPD Pipes and Drums, the Empire Pipe Band, and the Engine 1 Larchmont Historical Fire Company. So it's a nice blend of music, civic organizations, youth, sports teams,
We're going to
sports
have like
leagues.
Mamaroneck or Rhinebeck sports teams.
Yeah,
working.
absolutely. We'll have
They
those
did
again
last
as
time.
well.
They're great.
Well, Mamaroneck baseball team's going to be there.
Yeah.
How about
state champs.
Yeah, this is great. The parade committee. Are you going to be marching?
I will be marching right beside you, Michael.
Well, that's great. Well, this year, last year I was working as a broadcasting with the
Right.
LMC-TV, but this year I'm going to be the MC
Oh,
on the
good.
parade and the grandstand, so I'm real
Right.
excited about that. I'm taking the place of the great Chris Ryan just for this year. He has other commitments, but we have the Breezy Point Pipes and Drums. Wow,
That's nice.
Isn't that great? The West Point Band. Miss New York State is going to be here, the Princess. How about that?
Good.
That's pretty cool.
Number 1 in New York, number 1 village.
I'm looking at
That's
this
great.
list here. It says Murphy Brothers White Truck. It wouldn't be a parade
I saw
unless
the
it's
old
the Murphy
truck,
Brothers
right.
White Truck. And it says it's not in red, but they're going to be there. So all you that are looking for that white truck, it's going to be in the parade there. So it's going to be terrific. Now, As we said, we talked about this earlier, you know, since it's a Sound Shore parade and we're looking to get more and more people involved because we all know the Sound Shore goes from Portchester all the way down to Pelham. I mean, that's
Correct,
the
to
Sound
the
Shore.
Bronx.
That we'd like to get more and more people in those communities also involved at the parade because, as you say, everyone is Irish on St. Patrick's Day. And, you know, I hope the vision is that at some time in the future we have that mariachi band marching down Mamaroneck
Absolutely.
Avenue playing the Rose of Tralee. Why not? Right?
Absolutely. It's what we opened up the show with. You know, it's really a diverse community, and the fact that you're celebrating your culture enforces the fact that the same way that you have a constitutional right of free speech, do you then guarantee everybody else right for free speech? Well, you're guaranteeing everybody's right to maintain their culture. I think which is the key to the success of this country. There are so many subcultures, to quote the American culture, that the availability for us to get along is fantastic. And that's the great part of this parade. I mean, there's one, I think that perhaps it was even one of the politicians had noted during the election, after the election, the great thing is that there are no troops in the street. It's just a normal thing from one term to the other term. So it's a natural progression from last year to this year to the next year, and to celebrate what's going on.
You know, one thing, Norman, we forgot to mention is who will be at the head of the parade, and that is our Grand Marshal, Jim Sullivan. Jim is someone that you may not know personally, but I bet a lot of you watching this telecast have eaten at one of his restaurants. He is the president of the Pearl Restaurant Group, which, again, that name might not mean a lot, but I bet these names will. Rye Grill and Bar,
Great place.
Ruby's Oyster Bar and Bistro, Heathcote Tavern, Morgan's Fish House, Lexington Square Cafe. He's a great man. We're honored to have him as our Grand Marshal. He and his family will be joining us on Mamaroneck Avenue, and if we're lucky, maybe he'll bring some food
I was
that
gonna say,
we can
great.
eat afterwards.
I hope he doesn't have to be on a diet all the time. I don't know if I could take that in all those restaurants.
And if not, we'll all go to Molly's after, won't we?
Absolutely. Well, that's
Because-
one of the keys. One
Yes.
part I love about that is when all the different fife and bands get together and they sort of have a little contest and they play, and the spirits,
Oh,
all
down
kinds.
at the harbor, yeah. It's
Right.
great.
It's great. It's just it's an amazing. It's a joy to see. One of the things that we were talking about before, that we're expanding to 8 divisions. There is a competition, I've learned, between parades. I know there are other parades. I don't know if we're on the same day, but there's a competition, and it's not necessarily easy to get the different fife and bands. Like you spoke about, NYPD fife and band comes in, they like it. It sort of speaks to the success of this program.
Well, I think it was great that Michael read that quote, which was a direct quote from the organizer of that group. They probably march in, 12 parades in a month around St. Patrick's Day, and for him to take the time to call out and say, hey, you guys do a nice job. It's a first-class operation. You take care of the people that come, and we're happy to come back. That means a lot. I know it made all of us on the organizing committee feel good, and it should make everybody associated with the parade and the village feel good, because obviously we're extending a warm welcome that people appreciate, take note of, and then come back.
Obviously local cable television, and I also thank LMC-TV.
Of course, thank you.
because they're the key for communication in this entire area. So of course we're trying to push them to get to the old hook and ladder building, but that's another story. But every chance I get, I keep saying that, and it's hopefully very close.
We say it twice in the same sentence. It's bound to happen. So if you'd like the
I've been-
old
I've
hook
been
and ladder,
saying
right,
it for 4 years. so,
Beautiful.
which
What a
is
nice
good.
location that would be.
Right, great. That's the key. What about if people want to get involved, not so much looking aside from coming and celebrate the parade, but how to get involved during the year? Because I'm sure once this parade's over, the next day you guys are starting again for fundraising and getting involved and so on.
Well, that's a
and
great
I'm sure you don't
question,
have
yeah.
to be Irish to get involved. do
You don't, but I mean, you said that anybody can march, but you want to make sure that, it's very democratic about that, but you have to go through Tanya. Tanya McMahon
Right.
has to approve.
Well, there has to
all
be
the
a
marches.
boss,
Yes,
the silent
so
boss.
she's the one. Once she vets you, you can march. But
And then in terms of helping out with the organization, Michael Murphy, it's kind enough to wear the shirt that tells you where you can find him at Murphy Brothers Contracting.
truly, I was hoping that they
there a
said
phone number
no
you wanna give out?
advertising.
Right,
no,
right.
it is for nonprofit, but I thought maybe just.
You want to give out a phone number so people could have that to call you?
You want to call me?
Sure.
Okay, you can call Murphy Brothers Contracting at 777, that's 914-777-5777, but you want to make sure that you ask for me, because if you just say, hey, I want to march in the parade, or I want to get involved with the St. Patrick's Day Parade, they're probably going to look, probably hang
you're
up
the
on
wrong
you.
number.
Yeah, what do you, right. We're a construction company, but you want to say, talk to Michael Murphy, and I'm sure that Rich will want to give out your number now.
I think we don't want
No,
to
that's
confuse,
good.
confuse people. One,
You also-
one
you
number's
also
enough.
have
One number's enough, right?
You also have a website. What's the website? Do you know?
SoundShoreParade.com.
Wow, that's
Very
clever.
good.
That's a good
right.
one. I like that.
Yeah, and it's an interesting website to go on. I mean, I think you can learn how to get involved. There's an application actually to apply for the scholarships
True.
and so on.
But also getting involved with the parade, and you don't have to have an Irish surname or an Irish background to get involved with the parade too. But the 6th annual parade the organization is going to start relatively soon, right after we put everyone to bed on the 20th, right?
Yes, absolutely. And actually, speaking of that, but tying it back to this year, for those watching this broadcast, please share this with your family, share it with your friends. We will have banners and promotions out around the village, and we are also, Michael and I, doing outreach to local, newspapers, websites, news sources of various kinds, religious organizations, bulletins, whatever. But nothing works like word of mouth. So please tell your friends, tell your family. March 20th, 1:30 Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be great weather. Right, Mr. Mayor?
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
In fact, we should put it on Facebook.
Yes.
You guys send
Not only
stuff.
that, but maybe the people are interested in sponsoring the event. If they want to be one of the sponsors, and there's
What's that involved? How do you?
well,
how do you
there's
become a
different
sponsor?
levels of sponsorship, which I won't go into right now. But who would they contact for sponsoring?
They could contact me for that.
Okay.
And how do they contact you?
Yeah,
They
Rich,
can
how do
reach
they
me
get you?
at
One way or another, we're going to
You
get
got to get your number.
914-468-0818 is my work number.
Great.
Maybe you'd like to say it again, Rich.
914-468-0818.
Well,
Yes.
it'd be interesting talking about culture, not to cut you off, Mike. Do you have a sense of the Irish culture itself in the village of Mamaroneck? I mean, there are so many people that are involved. I know because I grew up, I'm third generation, went to school, kids and everything else. This country has a great history of different groups coming in. I believe the Irish are probably one of the older groups of, quote, modern time. And then the Italians came, the Jews, and then you have Hispanics now, and so on. And it's a continuous change. So it's great to recognize those cultures, this pattern of intertwined cultures that are there. So basically that's it. I know I always claim that Mayor Briscoe, by the way, is my cousin. So
That's all
I don't know
right.
if you resaid that. So.
All right. So is it true that you're going to change the name of the village to Mamaroneck on that day?
Well, we have to work on that. It depends on the makeup of the board, actually. But it'll definitely be Mayor Rosenblum. That I can
There you
guarantee
go.
you and everything else.
Let's say we have a great diverse community too to draw from, right,
Right.
in Mamaroneck and some of the towns in the Sound Shore. I mean, right down the avenue. Look, I mean, you can just about get any kind of food you want. You feel like having
absolutely.
Hispanic food, you can have Hispanic food. You want, Asian food,
French
Italian,
food,
French.
Italian.
There's an Irish pub I hear.
Right.
It's called Molly Spillane's.
Right. And
So-
to continue, you're getting more and more. You have one place, Texas chili, which is great. It's very hard to get. I mean, you name it.
Indian food?
There's
There you
Indian
go,
food.
yeah.
You go, spicy food. You get Sal's Pizza. You have Jimmy's Pizza. You got, I shouldn't have started in. There's so many pizza places. We only have about 8 minutes left.
And you have to name them all because now that you've started, right? 'Cause
I
these are
know,
all
but you get the Village
constituents
Pizza.
here.
You got all of them. Emilio's and so on. Anyway.
Great to
you
see
can
them get
even
all involved on
You
the
can even
avenue.
get pizza on more than Mamaroneck Avenue. You get pizza at the Mamaroneck Diner if you want. So it's around. And so, but go back for that. You should go to Molly's for corned beef and cabbage, which is the classic
best.
for that.
Absolutely.
For that day. But anyway, as I said before, we keep talking a lot. It's a great event. February 20th, 1:30. Come early and get your
March-
spots.
March 20th.
I mean, March. Yeah, otherwise we.
Because they'll be out there on the avenue tomorrow, right?
I know.
Where's the parade?
Yeah, it's too cold anyway. We
have
want
to
to warm
march.
up. But we want to wrap something up because I think we're probably down to 5 minutes. We could talk for another half hour. But, and the reason we were able to get all this information is Mike was supposed to be here. But so we have this here representing Mike Hines.
Mike Hines,
from the
that's
original,
right.
our unofficial leprechaun.
Well, Molly's a great supporter of the
Right,
parade. They've been in the
absolutely,
last
from the
5
beginning,
years. I think
right.
that you might say the origin of the parade actually came someplace in the bowels of Molly's Plains.
It did. It was,
Which,
I
you
know, I was
know-
around when it first started. Mike contacted me.
Which is interesting how it always ends up there at the end of the night
Right.
of the day. If you're at the parade, and you're always welcome to come to Molly's if you can actually get in the door.
Unofficial
So
Irish headquarters.
yes, boy, I tell you, it's happening
And
there.
good food.
Yep, great music.
And better spirit.
Absolutely.
It's a
That's
great
on
place to
March
go.
20th, 1:30. We expect to see everyone in the Sound Shore area. Tell your friends in Port Chester and down at Pelham, come to the parade.
Great. Well, any closing comments?
Just want to thank you,
My
Mr.
pleasure.
Mayor. Thank LMC-TV for their support. And again, it's going to be a great time. I hope we'll see everybody on March 20th.
Great. Thank you very much. And I agree. Thank you, LMC-TV. Do a fantastic job.
That was